Stoneteller immediately looked everyone over for any severe wounds, and when it seemed everyone had got out relatively unscathed, save Ava, of course, the healer's shoulder relaxed slightly. Still, he waved his tail, a signal for everyone to head back to the wolf cave to regroup with Lily's distraction group. There, they would have to head back to the tribe's cave immediately to report and receive treatment. The healer approached Ava as cautiously as he could, asking her very quietly to come with them so her wounds could be treated. But the she-cat didn't seem to hear him. Her eyes had grown dull and hollow, now staring straight down into the deep black shadows of the ravine. Stoneteller's tail dragged as he turned away. He looked at Lightning with stern eyes. "We will come and collect her in the morning, and no later. She may need time to mourn, but I will not let her wounds fester any more than that." With that, he led the way back toward their temporary camp. Riverpaw trailed behind, staring at Ava. She still had no idea what to say to the she-cat. Perhaps the two were similar, losing loved ones before their eyes. But Riverpaw now had a new appreciation for her situation. She had had time and good friends to help her find peace with the death of her mother, and had even reclaimed a bond with the brother she thought she had lost. Ava had no one. She had avenged her father, only to lose her last remaining family. A brother dead, and dead to a brother. Riverpaw paused, mind desperately fumbling for something to say. She needs me. Or someone. She can't get through something like this alone, as much as she might think she can. A tail touched her shoulder, and Riverpaw jumped. Ashheart was there. "I will tell Stoneteller that we volunteered to collect Ava in the morning. For now, she needs this time, and we need to check with our comrades. Come on." Riverpaw felt warm gratitude at her mentor's understanding, and found that her legs moved with no more hesitance. "I'll think of what to say in the morning." She cast one last glance behind her, before Ava's hunched-over, battered form disappeared behind the cliffside corner. They found Lily's group already waiting for them, but it was not a happy reunion. The eyes of every arriving cat were immediately drawn to the three figures lying on the floor. Riverpaw's heart nearly stopped when she recognized the light gray, white-marked pelt of Stonepaw on the ground. Without thinking, the she-cat rushed forward, pushing past Featherfall and Moon of Season Tree, to stand over her friend's body. Echopaw was already crouched beside her brother, golden eyes dark with worry and tension. Is... Riverpaw couldn't get the words out. Echopaw shook her head and gave a shaky smile. He's fine. He's fine. He just got knocked around a little. His leg is just..." The she-cat's smile wavered slightly, and her eyes glimmered. She looked down, then looked up again, and her expression was as happy and comforting as ever. "His leg's broken, but I'm sure he's okay. You know, my brother is tougher than anything. He's Stonepaw, after all." Riverpaw appreciated her friend's comforting words, but she could feel the lingering worry in Echopaw's tone. The brown she-cat scooted around until her pelt brushed her friend's, and Echopaw immediately pressed against her, purring loudly for comfort. Riverpaw purred in return, wishing she was better at this. Drawing her eyes away from Stonepaw, she saw that Duskfall and Lily were the other two unconscious cats. Riverpaw looked at Mosslegs, who seemed to understand the question in her eyes. The small, Wind-Clan she-cat took a breath and looked at the newly arrived cats. In a small voice, she explained. When Ava led the alpha away, the other wolves seemed to stay put for the most part, but two broke off from the pack to check on the fight. We immediately went forward with the plan and tried to distract them. It worked, and we managed to get their attention away from Ava without alerting all the other wolves. But still, they were much faster than we had expected. One misstepped and fell, so we lost that one. But the other wolf just kept coming. It slammed Duskfall hard against a wall, and Stonepaw got his leg bitten very hard before being thrown as well. Lily was crushed under its paws, and it bit her around the torso. We did everything we could, but by the time we got her away and found places to hide, she was already... The she-cat's voice trailed away. She looked at Stoneteller with watery green eyes. The healer stepped forward, paws on either side of Lily's head. After a moment, the healer bent down and touched his nose to her forehead. He breathed in, then lifted his nose to the sky, exhaling a whispered prayer. May you find happiness in the tribe of endless hunting, our worthy prey hunter, my good friend. The striped Tom remained still for a moment longer, head facing the clouds, before lowering his gaze. Clearing his throat and turning to Duskfall and Stonepaw, he gave them a brief examination, checking their breathing and ever so gently inspecting their limbs and bones. After a few moments of this, he turned to the rest. I will look them over thoroughly back at the den, but we must get there first. Please, help me carry them as gently as possible. I believe Duskfall has a severe injury on his head and ribs, and Stonepaw's leg is in bad form. The gathered cats did what the healer asked, in the most ginger way they could. Riverpaw helped Echopaw and Ashheart carry Stonepaw, trying their hardest not to touch his leg. Still, they bumped it once as they lifted him, and Riverpaw flinched at the sharp gasp of pain that escaped his lips. It took them quite a while to reach the den, both from moving so carefully and from their own wounds and battered muscles. By the time they reached the waterfall, every cat seemed ready to collapse. Thankfully, there were cave guards ready to help them. Their burden was relieved, and the cats filed into the cave. Settling in the padded alcove near the entrance, Stoneteller immediately rushed away to gather herbs, shouting commands at any cat who could hear to help. Riverpaw settled down next to Stonepaw and Echopaw, and despite the tension still hanging in the air around them, and the worry worming its way through her stomach, her eyes closed, and she drifted into a dark and dreamless sleep.